and Legends, Well-Armed Stranger, and Worth a While Month's Wages. By 1978 to 1980, Sumner and Gary Kurtz, the producer of Star Wars, reached an agreement to publish his Uncle Scrooge stories with 17 more oil paintings. The first was called Uncle Scrooge, His Life and Times, which collected 11 of his classic stories, colored by Peter Laird, along with a new one by Carl Barks with watercolor illustrations called Go Slowly, Sands of Time. This also included a new oil painting, Wonders of Wonderlands. However, the Kurtz couldn't get anyone to publish it, thus they bought Celestial Arts for the express purpose to do so. The collection would be an instant success, receiving the attention of Time magazine and Newsweek, along with becoming the standard for collecting comic book stories thereafter. While the reprints ended in 1984 due to Carl Barks' increased popularity, they only went out of print in 1998 when Gladstone Publishing lost the license to produce the Disney comics. From 1977 to 1982, Carl Barks started to attend the San Diego Comic-Con and was shocked by the overwhelming response, including the long lines to get his autograph. In 1982, Carl Barks' fame continued when he was interviewed on Entertainment Tonight and finally met Floyd Gottfredson, his colleague and longtime artist on Mickey Mouse comics. Rather shocking that they finally met in person after decades of being two of Disney's premier comic book artists. In 1983, another Rainbow took up the daunting task of collecting the entire Carl Barks library, as it was called, which eventually reprinted all 500 stories of Barks' career in a 10-set, 30-volume collection that ran to the mid-1990s. That same year, Barks moved to Grants Pass, Oregon, joking to Camula, California was too close to Disneyland, thus fans kept showing up at his house. He would make one public appearance during this time at the local comic book store. In 1984, Western Publishing ceased the Disney license, while in 1986, Barks' paintings continued to climb in value, with one selling for $200,000. Also, an interesting note, in 1984, the first ever image scanned by the Apple Macintosh computer was a Carl Barks Scrooge McDuck. Soon, Carl Barks' fame really started to grow, with no less than 3 books being published about him in 1981. Carl Barks and the Art of Comic Books by J. Michael Barrier, The Fine Art of Walt Disney's Donald Duck by Carl Barks, written by Bruce Hamilton and Russ Cochran. This expanded popularity led to Barks being able to produce lithographs to go along with the production of the Carl Barks Library. Carl Barks would go on to produce 17 new oil paintings from 1982 to 1993 after Disney restored his permission to do so, each of them selling up to $75,000 apiece. In 1987, Carl Barks was inducted to the Will Eisner Hall of Fame, with no less than Will Eisner himself calling him the Hans Christian Andersen of comic books. Of course, like all the Eisners during Will Eisner's life, the fellow comic legend presented the award to Carl Barks himself. Probably one of the most popular adaptations of Carl Barks' works was the DuckTales animated series about Uncle Scrooge taking care of his nephews Huey, Dewey, and Louie from Donald Duck, who was entering the Navy service. I guess that sailor outfit actually meant something. And them engaging in numerous adventures together, encountering the other Barks creations like the Beagle Boys, Magic of the Spell, and Flintheart Glomgold. Barks loved the animated series DuckTales, at least the first season, which was inspired by his comic stories, and it premiered on September 18th of 1987, running until November 28th of 1990 for 100 episodes and a movie. However, Barks would admit he didn't like the later seasons as much, as they deviated too much from his original stories, and he didn't care much about the new characters. For the record, I love Gizmo Duck. The series will be an instant success and is considered the official launch of the Disney Afternoon, a series of syndicated cartoons that ran after school from Monday to Friday, including such classic series as Tailspin and Darkwing Duck, my personal favorite. All of which can be found on the Disney Plus streaming service today. The DuckTales series has since been rebooted on August 17th of 1997, running till this day, still getting their inspiration from the Carl Barks stories. In 1991, Carl Barks became the only Disney comic book artist to be made a Disney legend, which was presented by Roy Disney himself, the nephew of Walt Disney, who called him one of the company's most gifted and innovative storytellers. Sadly, in 1993, his wife Gar passed away. After his wife's death, Carl Barks' career was managed by the Carl Barks Studio, run by Bill Grandi and Kathy Morby, who had been selling his art since 1979. This included new art projects along with foreign tours, which led Barks to visit Iceland in 1994, the first time Carl Barks ever left the United States. Sadly, Carl Barks would be sued in 1997 and 1998 at the age of 97, And while the lawsuit was settled in his favor, it resulted in Carl Barks Studios being dissolved. In 2000, Carl Barks was subject to a Disney Legends episode that aired on Disney Channel, with Roy Disney once again praising his greatness and his ability to make you want to turn the page. Later that year, though, Carl Barks died on August 25th of 2000 at the age of 99 from lymphoma, which he was diagnosed with the previous year. He will be interred at Hillcrest Memorial Cemetery in Grants Pass next to his wife Gar. Barks stated before he passed that he was an atheist, believing the death to be a total peace from all those who held him down. When asked how he wanted to be remembered, Carl Barks stated it was that he gave his readers their money's worth when they bought their comics. Carl Barks not only left a tremendous amount of stories that are well worth their cover price, his legacy overall could not be understated. Not only did he create an entire world within the Disney that led to a creation of DuckTales, he also inspired numerous artists in and outside the industry. Filmmakers Steven Spielberg and George Lucas were huge fans, and they credited the Boulder Trap in the opening of their film Raiders of the Lost Ark to the sequence of Uncle Scrooge No. 7 in the story Seven Cities of Cibola in 1954, along with being chased by natives with arrows from Uncle Scrooge Adventures No. 22 in the story The Pride of Pizarro in 1959. George Lucas himself praised Barks' northeastern on Cap Quack layouts, calling him very American, and both he and his friend Steven Spielberg would pay high prices for those oil paintings. Most importantly, Barks' legacy of storytelling remains unmatched, creating stories that today ranked as the best of all time. The Comics Journal listed his Donald Duck stories as number 7 and Uncle Scrooge's number 20th of the best comic book stories ever. And he did all this under the eye of Walt Disney, making him arguably the most independent artist in the studio outside of his own creator. While Barks didn't create Donald Duck, he did create practically everything else around him, and it is doubtful Donald Duck would be as popular today if it wasn't for Barks. In summary, Carl Barks wasn't just the great duck artist, but a great comic book artist in general. I would like to thank the chief source for these episodes, Carl Barks Conversations, edited by Donald Audot, a fantastic collection of interviews of the cartooning legend, along with a nicely detailed chronicle of his life and career. A must-own for any comic book fan. And now is December 24th, 2020. Time for the favorite comic book of the week. King in Black, The Immortal Hulk, number 1, by Al Ewing and Aaron Kruger, which is a nice one-shot that finds the Hulk fleeing from one of Null's symbiotes throughout New York, all while happening on Christmas time. This is a great one-shot issue that really shows off Ewing's storytelling, especially with the fact that this is actually a silent issue with no dialogue whatsoever, relying mostly on Aaron Kruger's nicely creepy yet still very charming and often beautiful artwork that really gets to the heart of how Banner and, the Hulk has to deal with a symbiote, and surprise, surprise, one's actually better than the other one in dealing with. All in all, this is a great read for the Christmas season and the holidays, so definitely pick it up. And being that it's Christmas Eve, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. And I'm hoping Santa is bringing lots of great comic books for Christmas this year. And also, if you're looking for anything to binge during Christmas time that's comic book related, of course, Batman Returns and Iron Man 3 are two great comic book Christmas movies. And some nice Christmas classics as far as cartoons are concerned. Check out the Batman animated episodes of Christmas with the Joker and Holiday Nights. Those are true classic episodes. Definitely a must-watch wherever you can watch them. And with that, once again, Merry Christmas to everyone, one and all. And may Santa bring you some lovely comic books this Christmas season.